Okay. One more second. All right. All right. So coming in for a landing in our bodies, we're definitely going to do some head stuff, this cranial sacral work that I learned from a friend of mine who's another movement analyst and also a connective tissue therapist who I studied with a bunch. Her name is Jackie Hand. And so I learned this protocol, which I found really helpful for releasing neck tension and sort of headachy stuff. But before we get there, which we'll do that lying down, and you'll probably want to have some cushions around you so that you can support your arms with cushions so that you don't have to hold your arms there. But we'll start seated first. I'm just grabbing pillows to get myself set up. Pillows, blocks, blankets, whatever you need to give your arms the support so that you don't feel like you're holding them up. But before we get down there on the floor, let's just come into being in our bodies right now, being in this moment in our bodies, and feeling what it feels like to be you. And if any judgment is arising, just let that go or don't give it much attention. If any shoulds are coming up, let them wash away, let them blow away. The only thing to do is just land in the silence of your own experience, in your open awareness. And feeling into your breath, feeling the rise and fall of your breath. And feeling the natural sort of growing and shrinking with the breath. So wherever you feel that, we're not going to tell you do it here, do it there. Just let yourself feel what you feel getting bigger on the inhale, getting smaller on the exhale. Ebbing and flowing with the breath. And letting your body settle, settling down. Let's actually start with just a tiny little bit of movement, like a no with your head, really small. If it feels good to go bigger, you can go bigger. But if it feels okay to stay really small, just stay tiny. Just feeling into that place where your cranium is connecting onto your spine, your occipital joint. Imagining the foramen magnum, where that is where your nervous system is going down from your brain stem down into your spinal cord. And so just imagining that that hole in the bottom of your cranium as things are going down is spacious. So this little bit of turning of your head from side to side is just creating more micro movement in the tissue of your nervous system from your brain down through your neck into your body. And as I come into that, I also feel myself sort of retreating into the backspace, letting my body come back down and in, letting my awareness come into my body. And imagining that there is a easy, gentle flow of the fluids that are moving around your brain down through your spinal cord. So your cerebrospinal fluid has lots of nice, easy fluidity and flow to move down your spinal cord and then come back up. It comes back up and it filters back out, comes back up into your head and filters back out through your lymphatic system. And that is happening 3 to 4 times a day. So we're just increasing the capacity for this micro movement in there, for this awareness inside the tissue to have spaciousness and flow. And we can imagine that our brain, like this squishy folded material, like at the on the like when you see a brain, when you see the picture of a brain, imagining that like almost like intestinal looking material. There's lots of space around and within that for movement, life force, fluidity, energy. I don't know why. I think it's funny. Somebody said the other day that intestines are kind of like brain, like the way that they look when they're all folded up. It's kind of like the way your brain looks, all folded and nestled in there. And maybe as we feel that sort of idea of this relationship between our guts and our brains, we can relax a little bit more in our gut body as well. So, gut body and brains, very relaxed and easy. And feeling this relationship between the guts and the brain. They're both telling each other things all the time. Information is going back and forth between our brain and our guts all the time. So, allowing that to fully come online. And let's just take our hands on our belly and play with an ooh sound. So we're letting the spaciousness of our belly and our breath really fill out. So if you have an idea like, oh, I'm supposed to be all skinny and I need a 6 pack, like let go of that for just right now. Let your body be like an animal belly. Like animal belly is not holding itself in or trying to be better or perfect. Just let it be alive, full of energy, full of flow. And we'll work with this ooh sound with a little bit of a pedal breath. So your mouth can open and close a little. The O-ring, the sphincter of your mouth gets a chance to play with kind of opening and closing as the top of the gut body in our head, close to our brain, goes down towards our guts. My ooh is very rumbly. Maybe my tummy is rumbly too. Ooh. Ooh. For me, when I open and close a little bit, it starts to create an overtone, which I can hear in my head, which becomes very interesting to play with. Just imagine that any sound that's coming through you or out of you is making this vibratory undulation through your body. And inviting that in on a macro level if that or on a micro level if that feels good. And maybe it's coming out on a bigger macro level, whatever size any undulation is happening, whether it's at the surface of your awareness or deep down below your conscious awareness, also fine. But just tuning into that if possible. If you have earbuds in, also it changes the sound too. Like you can hear a little bit more inside of your body. I'm going to add a hand to my chest as well. So hand on my belly, hand on my chest. Encouraging and allowing this sort of vital force of the internal shaping of my body to really come online in my awareness. Ooh. Letting go of any idea of who you are in your facial expression, let that just be soft and mushy. Sounds weird. Let your face have free flow. It can make weird faces, it can do different things. It's totally fine. Allowing expression to free up. Ooh. If you feel like you're kind of grasping on or reaching for anything, see if you can just soften your grip, letting go, letting things be softer and gentler. Soft animal body, fluid and easy. So information is moving easily through your body. No need to grasp onto it. What is the information? It's sensation, it's awareness, following sensation. Feel free to keep coming back to that little bit of a turn, slight no in your head, or it could even be a nod if that feels good. But just freeing up that occipital joint in a really minimal way. So you're not forcing big movement in or trying to get more flexible. You're just allowing movement that feels easy to become more smooth, or even just to hang out in places where it feels interesting. It may be like, oh, but I just want to be here a little bit longer. So really listen into that and let it happen. That's kind of our tissue prep warm up, just coming into awareness. And I'm going to take it down to the floor now. You could do this seated with the hands on from seated. If your arms don't feel tired holding up there, go for it. But I find that being on the floor is a lot more relaxing for this, provided I have all the accoutrement to support my arms as they hold my head. So we're going to start. I'll just show you with the first place. We're going to put our fingertips right here at the nape of our neck, sort of the hairline. Really light touch. And we're imagining into that foramen magnum, that hole at the base of our spine where our nervous system is going down. Some people call it the foramen. Anyway, imagining that there's spaciousness in there so that our cerebrospinal fluid can easily move through there. So I feel like a lot of times when I get headaches, it's like there's a sort of congestion that isn't moving easily up and down. There's like too much going on up here and it's not flowing downward. So we're going to use our imaginations and our fingers touching the area to open up that space so that there's plenty of room for any cerebrospinal fluid or any messaging to go through and around our spinal cord, through that hole, bolstering, supporting, nourishing, and removing waste. Right. So as the fluid is going down and through, it's feeding the system, bringing in oxygen, nourishment, bolstering it. And as it returns, it's taking away the cellular waste, the waste products inside of there that then filter out through our lymph. So creating that spaciousness. Ooh, for some reason I'm really into this ooh oh. You don't need to make any more breath sounds. You could, if you wanted to, play with the theta breath, soft hiss, or just regular resting breath. But I'm going to keep playing with the O because my system just wants to do that. Ooh. I'm also seeing how lightly I can touch the back of my neck and the back of my head and still have this relationship. So maybe just like almost touching the hairs on the back of your neck, not pushing in. We're not trying to massage or force anything open by putting pressure in. We're just softly touching to illuminate with awareness that area. You can play with micro movement anywhere in your body as you're doing this. If you feel like you want to move more, go for it. But maybe you just want to be fairly still here. The sounding is creating a lot of sort of sensation through my whole body, which feels like an easy place to rest my awareness and follow the flow. But sometimes it feels like an effort. So if the sounding feels effortful, just let it go, breathe normally, or with theta breath. I feel a little bit like a wolf howling or a little dog howling with my ooze. If you're ready to move to the next place, we're going to take our right hand, the palm of our hand at the sort of upper right quadrant of the head, and the left hand, palm of the left hand is going to be in the opposite place. It's like they're hitting this diagonal. If your head was a cube, you'd be hitting right forward high and left back low. And all you're going to do here is just feel into the space between your hands. Really, really light touch, very gentle. It's almost like you're sending a connection from one hand to the other. If you've practiced Reiki before, kind of like you're letting just the natural energy that exists channel through your hands, not any effort whatsoever. And while I'm in this, I'm allowing my eyes to free up. So I'm just noticing that my eyes, with my eyes closed, are wanting to move around. It may be a different location, maybe in your jaw, but let your face have freedom to micro move or macro move, whatever feels right. And maybe there is a whole head tail connection thing happening with those waves. Listen to the wisdom of your body and allow movement, allow micro movement, allow sensation. Allow inquiry and exploration. And if your hands go, oh, I really want to be somewhere else, listen to that. Let that move. But if you're not sure, then just stay here for a little while. You can't force your somatic knowing. You can just allow it to show up. And the more you show up for it, the more it shows up for you. So we're not forcing anything on our body. We're just opening and allowing. We're offering. So I'm going to switch my hands to left forward high and right back low. So my left hand is up here on the upper left quadrant and my right hand is in the back right quadrant. There isn't really a right and wrong about this. So if you're wondering if you're in the right place, if it feels good and comfortable, that's it. I'm going to start doing a little bit of theta breath. So soft hiss, exhale. It's just an option. You could still make the ooh sound with the pedal breath, or you could do no sound. Whatever feels right to you. Listening into your body, really honoring your own nervous system, your own process. I just want to add coming to this sense of your connection to yourself with respect and love, with loving kindness. And if you encounter your own resistance in there, just push against it for a minute. Push into your own resistance for a second. You can play with that. There's tremendous play in resistance. Although I have to say, for me, this is much more about surrender. And then I feel like I've kind of completed that. So just gonna show you this. I'm gonna take my ears and just kind of pull down and out. So I really want to just take my hand into my ear and give it a little pull down and out so that we're pulling on some of the fascia in our brain that's sort of separating the upper and lower, pulling on both sides, just a gentle pull down. So this is a little more active than the other touches, just in, down, and out. The tentorum cerebelli, your cerebellum, the thing, a tent over your cerebellum, tentori. It's like a little, yeah, so you're pulling in your ears, and that's just giving that tent a little more of a width, a little more expansiveness. So that's the whole thing. You can also move your ears around, make sure your jaw is easy and loose. You can go back, repeat any part of that, but I'm going to offer us some music just to go into it and explore. So letting yourself work in whatever way feels good to you. Letting yourself feel what happened. Oh, so let's go with Ambient Fields, album number 3, song number 1. And let the sound wash in you, wash over you. Is that song number 1? It's number 2. I'm sorry, I gotta switch it up. No glasses, I can't tell. So I think 1 is just a little bit more low key. Yeah. Allowing your body to process the processing, move in any way that you want to. Freeing up the head-tail connection. And imagining your brain and your nervous system supported by your whole body, suspended in your whole body. Nothing to do but just be there. So allowing your exploration to move or not move, whatever feels good to you. Micro movement, macro movement. If you tend to be in stillness for a lot of the day or a lot of your time, try and invite in movement. If you're a very movie person, see if you can take it into smaller micro movement or stillness. But move into the waves of like the good feeling, of what feels nourishing and sustainable and coherent. Meaning our mind, our heart, our guts are all in alignment. Our breath flow, our circulation, our hormones also working in alignment. Coherence means it makes sense. The orchestra is in tune. We're not working against ourselves. And I feel like that is the biggest gift of somatic work, of slowing down and tuning in to these levels of movement and sound and vibration, is that it offers our body a chance to come into coherence. And once we start to learn what that is, then it's hard to go against it. It's much more easy to know what feels right to us in our lives when we know, because our mind and our heart and our guts are all on board. It is the most efficient way to be in life. But it's not about efficiency per se. It's about harmony, health, connection, and the capacity to really show up for ourselves and to show up for ourselves and to see that those two things are the same. And when we really show up in that way for ourselves, we're also showing up for the world. We aren't bringing in more dysregulation and war, right? Coming into peace within ourselves. which doesn't make us into spineless noodles. It actually gives us more alignment and more capacity to speak up when things feel off or wrong. Nothing to prove here. No striving. The process is the point. As you're in your exploration, if you come upon tension, see if you can let it go gently, kindly. And if you are tuning towards painful places, bring your awareness to the parts that feel really good. And one thing we can do is, instead of saying, oh, this is painful, it's just that there's a lot of sensation there. Changing the language so that pain, discomfort is an experience that we're experiencing, right? It's not necessarily a bigger story. Somatic work is long form work. Or we could say somatic play is long form play. Maybe we're taking it in small doses, but it's a lifetime, lifelong work, a lifelong experience there's no end product. There's no great achievement where you've done it and now you know everything. It's just a continual being with our experience and tuning to it in more subtle ways. Inviting your full self, all of you, to the party. No part of you left out. Everyone is welcome. if you're a person who has spent a lifetime of working out and or dancing or being very physically active, coming into this, some questions to ask yourself are, can I go slower? Can I go deeper? Can I move smaller? Sometimes it really feels good to move big or move quickly. That's allowed too. We can do that too. And sometimes it's great just as a comparison to what it's like when we do slow down. What if I let my body really move with deliciousness? Let it move the way it wants to move, not the way that I'm saying, oh, I need to work this out or stretch that or get more of this or less that, but just to move in what feels delicious and curious. Allowing any old crusty holding patterns or beliefs, even values, to fall away, right? Let yourself be fresh and new in this moment. The moment is full. Can we be present with all that's happening within the moment? With this isness, this experience. Just participating in open awareness with flows moving through or with your body. Just letting yourself have a few moments in silence, with or without movement. So for the TV land folk, maybe some people in the room, I am going to do a movement for meditators class, which is going to probably be on Sundays starting February 4th. It is on my website and I'm just formulating it right now. So that will go for 7 weeks, and kind of mix and match with elements, non-dual awareness and movement, Laban movement analysis.